spoke about this just at the very start of the conversation around social licence.
Yeah, sure.
And how that plays out. What does social licence mean?
So social licence really is a state where the citizens that we wish to seek information from or provide services to actually give us the permission to do these things, right? The worst thing you can do is put something into the field of play, a service, some sort of protection, but not have the permission, not have the understanding and the permission and education of the people you serve and who these services might be targeted to say, this is good. This is a good thing to do. I allow you to do it. So really, social license is really, you could argue it's kind of a social contract. It's really a relationship between, in this case, ourselves and the public we serve to say this is okay. The thing with social license is that it's always changing. People's attitudes, public attitudes to what's right, what's fair, what's just, where's the privacy concerns, or where the ethical concerns, or the rights concerns, the moral concerns are always changing. Public perception always changes. Events that we see in the media, not necessarily about government, actually, sort of entities that we know and have heard a lot of in the news. All those things start to change the public attitude towards what's okay and what's not okay to do with my information, or to share, or to derive from what I've provided you or others provided you. And so the thing about social license, it isn't just given once and given forever. No. You've constantly got to go work at a conversation with the public about we want to do these things, we want to create these benefits, we want to improve your lives, we want to create a fairer and more just society, we want to create a prosperous nation. Those are things that we really strive to achieve. But we can't do it to you, we need to do it with you. And so it's really important that social license construct is us to support an agreement that we have between us to do what we do. We're still thinking of ways to innovate the way that we might engage our communities more effectively. It's something that we, as we co-design and genuine co-design, and I don't mean co-design within agencies, I mean co-design with people, right? Things such as our Service Innovation Lab, where we're bringing people in, right? Real people in, help me design this, what are your needs? What do I need to know about you? What can you provide me that you feel comfortable with if I'm offering you this service? What gives us both mutual benefit? Those conversations, we're starting to bring more of the people that we're designing the services for into the table to design the services with them and for them, not just to them.
Because I've heard the word co-design, if I've got co-design on there, then I'm going to get it over the line.
Yeah.
So would I know by reading something that this is real, true co-design and not just because it's a good word to say right now?
Yeah, sure. I would expect to have some actual sound bites from some actual people in those cases, because when you do co-design, right, you're going to produce a whole bunch of information. You're going to produce sound bites of information. You might produce videos, post-it notes, pictures, all those sorts of things. Show me some of the evidence that actually occurred, because those co-design sessions aren't just I'll email you and it's a co-design. Actually, no, they're done face-to-face. They're done in workshops. Actually, they're done with post-it notes on walls and pens and all that sort of stuff.
So it's not about, here, I'm going to write this report about the services I think you need. Here, read it. Sign it off, and that's co-design. Yeah,
that's not co-design. No, that's not co-design at all. I mean, co-design is generally, face-to-face, collaborative, working with input and revisions and testing and okay. But also, I think it's about that transparency thing we talked about before as well. I mean, I think you've got to be willing to put that stuff out online and receive that feedback and constantly have it being monitored. So I think co-design. So co-design in its inception is kind of really about getting us together and having the evidence that says this is okay. And actually, essentially, who should sign this off at the end of the day? Well, yeah, you could argue the chief executive needs to, or whoever it is on that side, but actually you want the people you're serving who's going to receive the service to sign that off. So I'd imagine that we should be doing more of that. So I'd be looking for some sort of evidence that we have had that.
If we're doing more of that, does that, for the privacy part of it, does that capture and cover a lot of the privacy issues?
That's where you can test it out, right? So that's where you can test out, well, I'm trying to offer this, but I think I need to know these things. Do you think that's right? Well, the people that, if you're bringing in people that might say, well, actually, well, you don't need to know that because only 1 in every 10 cases or something that do I need to share that information. So they can actually tell you not just their level of comfort, but actually they can give you an idea of what would actually be important for them in that circumstance, right? So they'll give you some pointers, and then from that you can say, well, how much of that is personal information, how much is not personal information? How much do I know already how much, and I have an ability to use, I can test that out, how much do other agencies have that I could say, well, I could get this information over here because I already capture it, so I don't have to ask you again, but I would need to create a sharing agreement to do that. Is that okay, the implications of that? So you can have that conversation. It's a dialogue.
Happen quicker, do you think?
I think so too. So the way I look at it is about safe innovation. If you rush to get things out there and you don't do this, co-design, collaboration type of thing, I think one of the risks is you get it out there and people go, that's not good, and you go back to reworking it from scratch again, right? The idea here is that you're iterating, you're building, you're designing, you're exploring, you're testing the limits, you're getting the approvals all the way through that process. You don't tend to have to go back to the beginning to restart the whole process. So some people might say it's a bit organic or whatever it is, but actually I think the end result's faster and of higher quality. You're less likely to wind up with a surprise at the end of it. You're less likely to wind up with something that doesn't work for people at the end of it. You're going to respect their rights, their needs, their wishes, and obtain that license that we talked about earlier because you've had those conversations all the way through.
How's the system, when you think about your coach in the system? Is that quite a different way of working as a government?
As a concept?
Yeah, as a public sector and how's that?
I suspect we probably already do it, but I think we've just codified it. We've tried to use the coaching analogy because we found it's just relatable, right? People understand it, right? I suspect we do, and I know in other areas, we do have coaching roles. Other functional leads and other heads of profession, others actually have coaching roles, but maybe don't describe it in that manner, right? It's just that I think it's the thing that we've latched upon. It's a model I like to see repeated because I think that everybody needs a coach. Individuals and teams need coaches. It's just an inherent fact of growing and developing and nurturing our talent and our people, right? We talk about in HR terms about needing coaches or personal development. So, what you're coaching for, it comes down to the question: is it for privacy? Is it for I don't know? Let's pick other things. Is it for health and safety? Is it for technology knowledge? Is it for financial stuff, right? So who do you learn from? Who can guide you? Who can support you? Who can buddy with you? Who can say, tweak this bit, learn from these people, how you play a team? So actually everybody needs a coach. It's just that we've codified it in our sense. But I think the model just seems to work.
Because it seems like a different way that we might be going around to solve some of the big kind of like wicked problems we might have that we're trying to wrestle with as a public sector. By having the people who right there with us on that journey, who the services are we're trying to design.
I agree.
We're not doing it to them.
No,
they're part
that's right.
of the process of trying to solve this.
Again, back to the sporting analogy, if you think about the fact that every so often we change the rules of the game, right? So, but we want to bring the spectators along with us in those conversations because actually, ultimately, we could change the rule in the game, but if it affects the spectators' enjoyment or the benefit they derive from that game or the value for money they might have for that game, they're not going to come again. So if they don't come again, then you start giving a question about why you're doing this anyway. So actually then you go back to undo the rule. So actually a very similar thing, right? So actually if we're doing this, let's trial a couple of things and see if that works, get the feedback from the spectators, or in this case, citizens, and let's see how that works. And if it's good, then we can embed it and we can build upon it. We're not having to completely rewire the entire game from scratch every time we do that. So I think that's really important. But coaches help facilitate those conversations. Coaches help guide those conversations. The other thing is that coaches need coaching themselves. So the other thing that we look at is where can we learn from? We don't know everything. So we're not. While we're a coach, we're not the expert of experts. Nobody knows everything about everything. So where we can learn from others in the system, we love it. We bring it on board. Where we can learn from others at a global sense, bring it on board. So for us, coaches have to continually learn and adapt and learn their trade and keep learning their trades. That's the other important thing as well. And if we don't know, we'll put our hand and go, well, we don't know, but we know we can find out who does know, and we can bring them to the table. We learn, they learn, everybody learns. It's an important part of the coaching role. So we'd like to see more coaches in the system, or at least more roles like ours in the system that describe themselves as coaches, because we think that works for us.
To help lift up and
to help lift the performance of the entire team, not just individuals and team actually.